The Harlem Renaissance, a revolution in American English literature. Hello and welcome to the discourse. The Harlem Renaissance was a powerful period of cultural and artistic explosion centered in the Harlem neighborhood of New York City during the 1920s and early 1930s. This movement, also known as the New Negro Movement, marked a profound shift in black creativity. It was a time when African American artists, musicians, and writers produced a vast collection of work that celebrated black identity and challenged the racist stereotypes that had long dominated American society. This rebirth did not happen in isolation. It was fueled by the Great Migration when millions of African Americans moved from the rural South to the industrial cities of the North, seeking better jobs and fleeing harsh segregation laws. In Harlem, this concentration of talent and ambition created a vibrant community where ideas could flourish. The movement was not just about art for art's sake. It was a declaration of independence and a demand for recognition, asserting that black culture was a vital and sophisticated part of American life. The philosophy of the new Negro. Central to the Harlem Renaissance was the concept of the new Negro. This term represented a radical break from the past. The old Negro was a figure created by white prejudice, often portrayed as submissive, uneducated, and comical. In contrast, the new Negro was confident, intellectually sophisticated, and politically assertive. This new figure demanded civil rights and social equality and took immense pride in their African heritage. Philosopher and Professor Alain Locke perfectly captured this spirit in his 1925 book, The New Negro, which served as a kind of manifesto for the movement. Locke argued that art was the key to achieving equality. He believed that by producing great literature, music, and art, African Americans could prove their worth and humanity to a skeptical white America and, just as importantly, build pride within their own community. The new Negro was someone who refused to be defined by others and instead took control of their own narrative. A revolution in literature and its lasting importance. The literary output of the Harlem Renaissance was its most enduring legacy, fundamentally changing American literature. For the first time, a large body of work was being published that gave a complex, authentic voice to the black experience. Before this period, most depictions of African Americans in literature were written by white authors and were full of damaging caricatures. Writers of the Harlem Renaissance shattered these images. They explored a wide range of themes, from the deep scars of slavery and the ongoing struggle against racism to the everyday joys and sorrows of black life. They wrote about the pain of living in a segregated society and the excitement of city life. They also celebrated black culture, from its rich oral traditions and spirituals to its contemporary music like jazz and blues. This literature was important because it provided a platform for self representation. It allowed black readers to see their lives and struggles reflected in powerful stories and poems, fostering a strong sense of racial pride. For white readers, it offered a window into a world they often ignored or misunderstood, challenging their preconceived notions and building a case for empathy and social change. Pioneering voices of the movement. Many brilliant writers contributed to the rich tapestry of the Harlem Renaissance, each bringing their own unique style and perspective. Langston Hughes was one of the most celebrated figures. He became famous for his innovative poetry that captured the musical rhythms of jazz and blues and gave voice to the lives of ordinary working class African Americans. His work was both joyful and deeply thoughtful, celebrating black culture while also confronting the hardships of racism. Zora Neale Hurston was a masterful novelist and anthropologist. She traveled through the American South and the Caribbean to collect African American folklore, which she then wove into her stories. Her writing is known for its vibrant depiction of black Southern life and its use of authentic dialect, which brought her characters to life with warmth and humanity. Claude McKay was another key literary contributor, whose powerful sonnets expressed a fierce and defiant response to racial violence and oppression. His work, often burned with anger and a call for resistance, providing a more militant voice within the movement. Jean Toomer wrote one of the most experimental and highly praised works of the era. His book Cain was a unique mix of poetry and prose that painted a haunting picture of black life in both the rural South and the urban North. County Cullen, a poet who favored more traditional classic forms, explored themes of racial identity and the desire for a world without the barriers of race. Nella Larson, a novelist, wrote compelling stories about the lives of black women, often focusing on the complex issues of identity and the phenomenon of passing as white. Jesse Redmond Fawcett, as a writer and literary editor, played a crucial role behind the scenes, nurturing the careers of other black writers and publishing their work. Landmark works that defined an era. The major works produced during this period remain classics of American literature. Langston Hughes' first poetry collection, The Weary Blues, announced a bold new voice. Poems like The Negro Speaks of Rivers connected contemporary black identity to the ancient rivers of civilization, creating a profound sense of history and belonging. Zora Neale Hurston's novel Their Eyes Were Watching God is now considered a masterpiece. It tells the story of Janie Crawford for her journey to find her own voice and independence through three marriages. The novel is a powerful exploration of love, freedom, and black womanhood. Claude McKay's sonnet, If We Must Die, became an anthem of defiance. Written in response to racial riots, it called for courage and dignity in the face of oppression, inspiring generations of activists. Jean Toomer's book Cain is a landmark of modernist literature. It is not a traditional novel, but a collection of sketches, poems, and stories that together create a lyrical and sorrowful portrait of the black search for identity in a changing America. County Cullen's poetry collection Color contains some of his most famous poems, such as Heritage, which grapples with complex relationships African Americans have with their African past. Nella Larson's novels Quicksand and Passing offer sharp psychological insights into the lives of mixed race women navigating the strict color lines of society. These works and many others form the core of a new literary tradition that was unapologetically black, artistically ambitious, and culturally transformative. They laid the groundwork for future literary movements and continue to be essential reading for understanding the complexity of the American experience. So, this is it for today. We will continue to discuss American African literature. Please stay connected with the discourse. Thanks and regards.